to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 10th day of October. I tell you, what a day in sports we've got coming up here. I want to say the Yankees and the Royals are going to play a little bit later. Congratulations to the New York Mets beating the Philadelphia Phillies. I've got a take on that about these bye weeks. Not really looking good for the home team, the team that gets the best record, and wins the division. They seem to be at some type of disadvantage. They're not handling this. A pretty interesting stat I read on that. Also, game tonight. Good game. Pretty good game. Seattle and San Francisco will be playing tonight here in Seattle there. So I expect a big get-back game there for the 49ers. Also, Kevin Carroll will be in 30 minutes. Coach Carroll, very good guest here. 30 minutes past the hour. We're going to go over that Tennessee-Arkansas loss, talk about Tennessee, Florida. Plus, I know, folks, we got a lot of big games this weekend. Oregon, Ohio State, Ole Miss, and LSU, Texas, Oklahoma. I mean, it's just a massive weekend for the college game. So stand by. We'll take our first and only break here. And I'll be back here in a few short minutes, and we'll hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the sharp-dressed man and the big story breaker, Robert Butler, on Sports Scope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on National Streaming Sports. To get the National Streaming Sports channel on your Roku TV, channel search National Streaming Sports. There's the channel search in Roku. There's our logo right on the right. NESSP. Tap on the logo and it will add to your TV, the channel to your TV. On your laptop, tablet, and mobile phone, download the free Roku app and channel search just like above. If you don't have Roku TV, you have to order a Roku device from the Roku store, hook it up to your smart TV, and bang, you have Roku TV. Again, channel search, National Streaming Sports. Click on our NESSP logo and add the channel. National Streaming Sports is brought to you in part by BetUs.com, designed for true fans. NFL odds, Week 1 and futures, college football odds, including Heisman Trophy favorites and playoff odds, NBA odds of division winners and playoffs, Major League Baseball playoff and World Series odds, the National Hockey League Conference playoffs and Stanley Cup odds, and boxing wagers. Betting opportunities include versus the spreads and outright winners, also during the game. Use our link on our website, nessp.info, the Bet Us Opportunities webpage, for a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Must be 21 years old, and remember, bet responsibly.
That's right. Bet responsibly, folks. Don't get crazy here. Okay. Speaking of that, you got San Francisco playing tonight, 49ers. I know it's going to be on the Amazon station there, competing with the baseball game, of course. 2-3, and what I want to say, Seattle's lost 2 straight though. So this is a pretty big game in the NFC West here. If you compared it to the Arizona and San Francisco, this does not look like the division so far that it's going to get the 1 seed, if you know what I mean. Everybody's kind of beat up on everybody in this division so far. If you guys recall last year, San Francisco won up in Seattle on Thanksgiving night. Very good game there. Won comfortably. I want to say it was like 34-13. I don't see that being any different from this game. I think the 49ers, plus there's injuries there with they got some front 7 injuries defensively for Seattle. So I think I like this game 27-13. And Seattle will continue to look like the team they did last year. And Seattle fans are going to start to look at guys like Geno Smith and say, okay, well, this is all we're going to get out of this guy. Got a lot of talented players. You got the new coach. And like I said, that's young Pete Carroll. You wanted to go away from Pete Carroll, but they took Pete Carroll anyways. Now, if they win this game and knock out Frisco, maybe that'll change the mood a little bit. I doubt it. I think the Niners win. They get the road win, and Seattle loses their 3rd straight, and the Niners get back to 500, in my opinion, but we shall see. We shall see, okay? Also, the Mets. Kudos to the Mets. I'm going to have Mad New Yorker. I'm pretty sure he's on cloud 9 right now with the fact that the Mets knocked out the Phillies. We talked ad nauseum about the Mets. Would they lose their first 6 or 7 games to start the season? He said he couldn't give away his tickets. And they were 9 games below 500 mid-May. Looked like a throwaway team. I know they did away with Verlander last year, and I thought maybe they're just going to go young and kind of blow this team up. And they've got some young players there, and got a little scrappy there. Got hot in June, and now we're here. They beat a 95-win Philadelphia Philly team, second best record in not just the NL, all of baseball. But second best record, and I had the Phillies losing in the World Series to the Mariners, so neither one of them made it. But my biggest take on this is Braves looked great last year, if you recall. And the same situation happened with them. The wild card, the Philly team ran through that Brave team like a hot knife through butter. And I was looking at the statistics on these bye weeks. And this thing is like it's like a curse to these teams, folks. Let's see if I can get involved. Look at this here. I got all kinds of stuff saved here. Okay. Got this off of MLB.com. In 2023, the bye teams, this is just last year. Just don't count the ones that they just lost this year. So you got to add another one on, right? In 2023, the bye teams lost 3 of the 4 divisional series matchups. In 2022, it was a 50-50 split. The bye team has lost 2 of 4 matchups. That was a week ago. And, of course, now it's even worse than that if you start adding up this year's team. So, I tell you, and by the way, I mean, of course, we got winner take all tomorrow. Well, winner move on with the Dodgers and the Padres, and that's turned out to be Red Sox Yankees 2.0 there with the intensity of that rivalry. And, of course, the Padres got, they could possibly knock out the Dodgers who got the best record in all of Major League Baseball. So this is interesting. What do you do about that, Pickles? I talked about that in the NFL where I thought that the Titans didn't really look fully prepared to play when they had the bye week in the NFL a few years ago against this Bengal team where unorthodoxly in an unorthodox manner because Tannehill didn't turn the ball over much all of the year, that particular year, and had 3 turnovers. And the team took him a while to get quite in sync there. And, of course, they end up losing that game. I mean, is there something beyond what the players' union will allow teams to do to stay fresh? And I mean, you work all year, and this is why I don't like about Major League Baseball. It's too long. You know, it's way too long as it is. And you look at teams like the Phillies, they've got the second best record and the best record with the Dodgers. Dodgers on the, possibly brink of losing. And then the Phillies have already lost. And I mean, I'm glad for the Mets there. Don't get me wrong. But what do you do to stay sharp? You get that. You take that other team, they're playing another series. This is such a momentum sport here. How do you deal with that? I mean, do you practice intense games there that you probably shouldn't do or you wouldn't prior to? If I'm this team, I've got all this money and the Dodgers got a ton of it. I mean, you start looking at Shohei Ohtani. Look at this season Ohtani's had. Would you hate to see it go down like this? I don't know. All I know is that Pickle says managers need to inspire coach players to grind it out. Yeah, I mean, you need players and coaches like the great late who just now passed, Pete Rose, to get out there and practice harder. I don't know but I'll tell you what, if I'm one of these teams, Yankees got all that money, the Dodgers, as I just mentioned, got all that money, we're having some intense workouts, we're having game-like situations. Otherwise, you got to change this up, man. You can't work all through the spring training down in Florida, right, Pickles? Let's sweat that summer out. You make it to the All-Star break. You get a few days off at the All-Star break. Then you hit the ground running when it's really hot outside, when you're in July and August. And then September 1st, guys like me I watch a little bit of it, but I'll totally just shut this stuff out. And my mind turns, when college football comes on, my mind turns baseball off. It used to not be that way, but I just think that, they should start earlier and they should, and of course it should end later. I mean, like I said before, the playoffs should start in August and then maybe the World Series by September, something like that. Towards the end of August, they can have all the time up. And I think definitely these teams getting those bye weeks, they got to change what they're doing because this ain't working, But anyways, kudos to the teams that are moving on. Detroit, wow, man, I tell you, they're still in there. I talked to gave a guy a ride the other day from Detroit. This guy flew down in that first series, holds a restaurant here in Nashville, Pickles. And I think I told this story the other day, but he took flown down to see that Astros game. Him and his wife flown down to see the Astros game, to see the Tigers. They're the hottest team in the league. Remember, they wasn't doing that great before the All-Star break, but they became the hottest team. And I said this the last few years in baseball. It seemed, who's hot towards the end of the season? Who's hot? It ain't who's probably the best team. I know back in your day, Pickles, it wasn't like the teams with the 2 best records, the ones that end up playing in the World Series going way back. So it would have been the Mets American. I guess that would have been the Yankees and essentially the Dodgers. The World Series, a lot of people would want, but truth of the matter is that Padres and Dodgers series, that's got a lot of stars in it. You talking about Machado and Mookie Betts and of course, who's that guy that's red hot for San Diego, man? I mean, that guy is you talk about somebody living up to his, what's that guy's name, Pickles? For San Diego, that he's so hot right now that if you got close to this guy, your shirt would get on fire. And I can't even call his name right now. But that dude is red hot, man. I mean, I was looking at, I thought I had a screenshot of it. Yeah, Tatis, he's living up to that contract right now, ain't he? Now, I know he got in trouble with I think had some PED. Well, he got injured, and then he had the PED thing. But, Tatis is all that and a couple soup. So, anyways, before I waste too much time, we'll see how that is. I will be watching that Dodger game tomorrow. And, again, kudos to the Mets here, beating up on a sloppy-looking, a rusty-looking Philadelphia team is only best of 5 in the second round. Kind of wish they'd do that in the NBA. Okay, speaking of good matchups, listen, folks, again, this is like the Houston and Minnesota game a couple years ago in the NFL, switching back to the NFL. This is like the Buffalo-Houston game, which was also very close. I said that would be 23-20. It was 23-21. But this interstate rival game between the Commanders Sunday, going to be great weather in Baltimore, and the Baltimore Ravens, this is going to be probably the game of the week. I'm telling you here, I will give you a score tomorrow. I'm back and forth on this game, okay? Jalen Daniels, I mentioned this the other day. I've got the Commanders as the 5th team. In my Power 5. I've got the Ravens here as number 3. Okay, I got the Ravens at number 3. Remember that now the Ravens got 2 losses here. Okay, I think the Ravens, like I mentioned before, the best run defense in the NFL. They do give up big plays in the passing game. I think the reason why is teams have to game plan to put more passing plays into the offense because the Ravens have had a good run defense ever since they've been called the Baltimore Ravens. Remember, they used to be the Cleveland Browns or whatever. And going back to this Jalen Daniels here. Now, a lot of people really aren't talking about Daniels. A lot of football people aren't. Some of your sensational people off ESPN are going to be talking about this. But the real football people like myself, if they can beat the Ravens, who Lamar Jackson is 20-1, one loss, I think it was a COVID year against the Giants. He might have had COVID that year. Who knows? But he don't lose to the NFC. Lamar Jackson don't lose to the NFC. But if Jalen Daniels, again, with this 77.1% completion percentage, he's going to have some matchups in the passing game. But if I'm Cliff Kingsbury and I'm the head coach there, Kingsbury is going to be working with him. He has full, and this is what we read about it in the off season, because he was pretty high in demand. This this Cliff Kingsbury, the Bears wanted him, the Raiders wanted him, and of course the Commanders put out the money and bid it and got him. But also he has total control over that offense. No editorial control of that. But if I'm Kingsbury, I'm telling Jalen, I say, listen, we know you've been playing in the NFL. You played a real defense last week. We put 34 points on them. Great pass there to McLaurin. I've seen it 2 or 3 times. One of the plays of the week there to Terry McLaurin against that good Cleveland Brown team there, And I'm telling him, stay out of harm's way. As good as that Cleveland defense is, that Raven defense is just that much better. And we can possibly get out here with the win. This will be a pretty high-scoring game, in my opinion. The Ravens are the highest-scoring offense in the NFL. Yardage-wise, I don't know if it's points-wise. I know that they're top 5, though, from this Commander team, And the Ravens are susceptible to the pass. They're one of the worst pass defenses in the league. They were in a big shootout last week. Probably should have lost that game to Cincinnati. Probably should have lost that game. But I guess what I'm saying is if they find a way to win this game, and Daniels plays well, then we could really start talking about Daniels being that breakout star, potentially that happening. He'll get a lot more because, listen, this team was in the AFC Championship game last year. Most people, myself, towards the end, I thought they was going to end up making it to the Super Bowl. But then Kansas City put a dent in that dream there for this team here. So I do think that this is going to be one of the absolute best games. It's going to be great weather up in Baltimore. And like I mentioned before, I've got Mike Richmond who comes on I'm going to try to get him on there. If they knock out the Ravens, I'm going to definitely push to get Mike back on. I've got his email. I'll promote his book and whatnot. I'll go ahead and order his book. I haven't ordered it yet. And bring Mike Richmond on next week because this is a big test for them. Again, Lamar Jackson 20-1 against the NFC here. And it would be good for Daniels, And now a lot of you say, well, this may be the cynic may say this may be the game where Daniels gets humbled or he gets banged up. I've seen it with guys who run around a lot. For those of you remember the Michael Vick game, it was in a preseason game. He got an ankle injury against the Ravens, and it set him out a while. Pickle says Daniels and Jackson can produce 1,000 yards. This will probably be a great fantasy game for all you fantasy players out there. I'll tell you, it's going to be one of my favorite NFL games of the entire weekend. If Daniels gets hurt, it will be this game, is what Pickle says. I totally agree with that. They need a Super Bowl reference for this game, or Super Bowl referees. Yeah, Daniels is going to have to protect, and that's what I'll say. And we'll give a prediction tomorrow. I was leaning heavy Ravens, but I don't know. Washington, the weather, the settings is good for a Washington upset here. We'll just have to see how this one plays out. This is one of the more exciting NFL games of the week. But I'll tell you what, the weekend will probably be owned by the college game. And that's the reason for one of my guests here. He's a little early. He hyped up, ready to go. And we've got plenty to talk about with Kevin Carroll here coming up, my guest here. And we might as well bring him in early because there's a lot to cover, ain't it there, Kevin? How you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys?
Man, you
Pretty
sound
good.
great. You sound great. Yesterday my guy Andre had a little echo, but yours is no echo, man.
Awesome.
Greatly appreciate that, Kevin. You ready for this weekend, man?
Oh yeah, I'm really ready. Very, very ready. It's time to redeem. We got to redeem ourselves.
Totally redeem ourselves. Okay, so don't let me put words in your mouth, brother. What happened last week? Tennessee loses on the road to Oklahoma and usually play really well off bye weeks. What happened to the Vols, man?
You mean they lost to Arkansas, but I know what you meant.
They lost. They lost
you
last
said
week.
Oklahoma, but I know
Oklahoma, Arkansas.
Yeah.
They was off the bye week. Remember they beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, they were off the bye week. Yeah.
Yeah, and they usually play well off these bye weeks. What happened there, man?
Honestly, I don't know. I watched the game, and what I think the problem is, I think Heupel's holding. I kind of have a feeling Heupel was holding Nico back until they got to like Alabama and into Georgia. I think he wanted to be able to beat Arkansas without pulling a whole lot out of the bag, and unfortunately that didn't work. They got to get back to the tempo and start running the tempo stuff. That is their identity. That's how they built the success in 2022 with Hooker. And, and I'm not saying Nico's where Hooker is yet, but unless you turn him loose and let him start working on that, he's not going to get there. I want him doing it by the time we play Alabama. I want him to already be, and if there's any reason why I would have wanted him to start last year, this is the exact reason right here. I want him to already to get all this stuff behind him because, would he run the table last year starting? I don't think so. I do believe he could have won one or two more games than Milton did, but that's why I wanted him to start last year. I understand why Heupel went the way he did. He wants the players to trust him, the senior players. He wants the loyalty, and with the transfer portal and NIL and all that stuff, it's part of it now. You have to have that part of it. you can't lock a guy up like you could in the past. I mean, that they'll cut tail and leave if if they don't get what they want, and then other players will see the same thing and then they'll do the same thing. But anyway,
Yeah.
getting back to the Arkansas game, I just felt like they didn't run their stuff. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. Their the offensive line kind of failed. Nico's not where we want him
Yeah.
to be yet, but I don't think that means that he's not going to get there. I still fully believe he'll get there. It's just a matter of
how
turning
healthy
him
is
loose.
this offensive line coming in to this Florida game?
From what I'm hearing, they're still good, but I mean that didn't matter last week. So
Yeah.
I mean they had Hurd. Hurd is not looking like the left tackle that we wanted him to look like at this point. And then Campbell on the other side, he's getting beat some as well. And the backs have got to do a better job pass blocking, in that part of the game. Bishop, I believe Bishop did a better job in pass protection than Sampson did, if you want to be honest about it. So, and I think that's why he kind of got a little more playing time there in the second half this past week. So, I mean,
what do you think about those 3rd and 7 calls up the middle? How conservative was that there, Coach?
Well, they're dropping 8 or 9 people, and they're only rushing 3, and the lanes to run are up the middle. They're just not blocking, man. I mean, and I mean if he springs,
because you're okay with that play call running up the middle like that.
Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. And this past weekend, I mean,
sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
Well,
right?
You've seen them do this in the past.
Yes,
and they'll call that play.
They converted
right
it sometimes
like that, and then he'll bust for 15, 20 yards.
Yeah,
I've seen them do that. In the past when the offense is running the way it's supposed to be run, and they're getting the blocks. I'm hoping this loss is like a springboard. I hope Heupel's like, okay, gloves are off. We gotta go for it. And I need to turn.
Do you feel like this is a blessing in disguise?
Maybe I was. Okay. Oh God, I hope so. But he needs to let Nico run more. I think too. Nico need, and I think
you're seeing it just the way I'm seeing it, brother.
That's a specific part of it. I think that he was holding back. He didn't want Nico to run a whole lot these first few games. He wanted to get to Bama and Georgia and then use that part of his game. But yeah, he's got to do it. He's got to let him go ahead and do it. Nico, he seems like a smart runner to me when it comes to protecting himself.
Yes.
He's a big, lanky guy. He's a lot more durable than I think a lot of people gave him credit for. I've seen him take some tough hits, and he springs right back up, and he's not getting in any compromised positions. I think he's a smart runner, and he knows when to run. And if that's part of his game, I think it's going to help his passing game as well, which, like I said, they're dropping 8 or 9 people. What we need to do is work the middle of the field, let Nico run some, go back to those quad sets where they got the 4 wide receivers out, and just throw screens and stuff like that, and make those guys respect the run and the other parts of the offense. And then that's when you can start going downfield. But yeah, and the pace, they got to get the pace back, man. Yeah. They got the offense is what we're talking about, because honestly, they gave up 19 points. And in my opinion, that should have been enough to win. Now, did they play perfect on defense? Not by any means, but I do think they played well enough to where they could have won the game. They needed to score more than 19 points, period.
Do you think 2 possessions before the last possession, when they're down 19 to 14, if he would have been aggressive and ran like he did that last possession, 2 possessions before that, we're talking about an undefeated Tennessee team today, ain't we?
Yeah, possibly, yeah. And I mean, the good thing about it is all the goals and everything they set are still very much in front of them.
Right.
I mean, they haven't lost anything yet. They, the one game, of course, you listen to Vol Nation and you think the world has got a big crack in the center of it. I mean, they're freaking, comparing Nico to Jarrett Garantano and all this crap. I'm like,
oh no, he's not that guy.
These guys.
Yeah, that's way overreacting.
They react so bad. We're never going to win anything with Heupel. This and that. They need to start the tempo back, and that's, like I said, that's their identity. That's what got Heupel's reputation. That's how they look so well with Hendon Hooker running the offense, And like I said, he's still a redshirt freshman and his first year starting, and it's not to make excuses. That's just facts. That's just what
That's
it
just
is.
the way it really
And
is.
he's not running or picking it up the way as quickly as I thought he would. I thought he'd be a lot better by this point.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think it's all on him either. I think it's the way the game's being called, and I also think the line's got to pick it up. They got to do better run blocking, and they've got to do better pass protection, and that's just the way it is. They just got to play better, and I mean, we'll see how that goes. Florida, apparently their run defense is horrible, so that should help a lot. That should help a whole lot.
The dog says I second that.
Yeah, the dog seconds that.
Hey, did you are you a little bit annoyed the fact that Heupel is so how do I explain this? He's so stuck on this formation with those two wides. Why don't he run any pro style formations? Why don't he at least alternate those formations just a little bit?
Well, I mean, that's what I was talking about, the quads and stuff, and that was a really big thing that they've done in the past. And this is I like this about Brew as much, if not more, than this pass catching is when you put him out there on those quad sets and you throw a quick screen to another receiver and let him lead block. That kind of stuff works great for this team. It's worked great in the past, and I think it would work great right now. But we're going to have injuries. Like I know Squirrel is out, and
he got banged up the other day.
I believe I don't know what Brew's status is.
I hope he's a big playmaker.
Yeah, I don't know if he's playing this week or not. But this is kind of a good thing, though, I think, because these receivers have not been getting separation like they should, and I have felt like they should go hit that depth chart a little bit and let some of these younger guys get a chance. Like we'll probably see Mike Matthews this week. We'll probably see Nimrod, and I mean those guys. Leafcock, him as well. He's another guy that came in a couple years ago as one of the top receivers in the country who just hasn't
one of these
panned
4 or
out.
5-star guys.
So I mean, I want to see these other guys. Get them in there. They're probably some of them are quicker. They got more speed than these veteran guys. So get these guys in there. They're going to play inspired ball because this is their opportunity to show what they can do. So I think it's bad, because they don't have the experience, but it's also good because I believe they're very talented guys. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of these younger guys get their opportunities at wide receiver. So
now it's either the odds makers still like Tennessee to win in this game.
It being in Knoxville is a huge deal as far as that goes.
Yeah. How do you see this game playing out, man?
God, if they come out inspired and play how they're supposed to, I believe they cover, honestly.
Okay.
But if they don't, I mean, if they come out and do the same stuff they've done this past week, I mean, we could be looking at a dogfight. I don't see a scenario where Florida pulls away, but I do see a scenario where they stick around and they could beat us.
Yeah,
I mean, kind of similar to what happened last week. They just stuck around and they beat us at the end.
And they just, they played Tennessee well. They beat Tennessee last. I couldn't believe that. I still can't believe they lost down there.
Yeah, it's
because they lost 7 games last year. The Florida did.
Yeah.
Are they going to have their senior back? What's his name, Mertz or whatever?
He's supposed to be back. Yeah.
Yeah. Tennessee will have their hands full Saturday.
He can hurt us. And Florida has looked good the last couple of weeks, but I don't want people to get too twisted on that. Look at who they played. Florida is not back.
Mississippi State.
They're still pretty bad. Their O-line is really bad. Arkansas was supposed to be bad, and we were supposed to have dominated that. So how much stock we can put into it, I don't know. I don't think the D-line played horrible against Arkansas, but they didn't play great. I think our biggest problem was the linebackers trying to cover passes. That was our biggest problem in that game. And then you just got to give it up to Green. He was throwing some passes, and his ball placement was like on point.
That's what my guest on Tuesday said. Yeah,
you just got to give him his credit. You got to give the guys credit. It's I don't even think the DBs were had bad coverage. It was just the ball placement was so good, and the receivers were making the catches. So, You can't
Yeah.
make excuses for that. You just got to say that was just good football plays, and then they made
Right.
the plays. So
It
but
really was.
the linebackers were getting mixed up though. They were covering the wrong guy. They were both going to the same area of the field.
Were they looking ahead? You think they might have been looking ahead to this Florida game?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. At this point, I don't know why you look ahead to Florida. To be honest, they're not necessarily something to
Right.
look forward to. But
And they
maybe
come
they
off
were
that
looking
bye.
past-
He usually plays
yeah.
great. There's
maybe
teams
they were
usually
looking
play great.
past both Florida and Arkansas and was thinking Alabama. We're going to go into Alabama undefeated. But I mean, maybe they were doing that. So if that was the case, it was probably a good thing they lost. That should get them to go, get them some inspired to be ready to play.
Get them out of
Saturday.
that autopilot, right,
Yes.
Coach?
Yes, change it up. I believe Heupel's a winner, and I don't think now that he lost the game, I foresee changes. I expect him to do different things this week in order to win this ball game. I don't see him rolling the same stuff out there. He's going to do some different stuff, whether that means different players in different spots, or that means different formations, or picking the pace, get back on the pace.
I
doing
hope
what
they do some different formations.
Yeah.
He kills me with that same formation.
I want to see him go. The pace is my biggest thing. Get that fast-paced offense going. Live or die with
They
it.
did do
because
have a
that's your
slower
identity.
pace, yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Slowing it down and securing a win is a smart coaching move. Like they did against Oklahoma.
Alabama's lacking slowing down.
Doing that against Oklahoma, that was just good coaching.
Yeah.
This past week, I don't know what to call that.
And Oklahoma's not a bad team. They beat Auburn off that emotional game to Tennessee.
We didn't have anything secured this past week. They should have kept attacking, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Until you got 2 or 3 scores ahead. Then if you wanted to dial it back, fine. But, securing the win is first and foremost. And then, dial it back depending on the game situation. But, it sucks because I wanted to be so I wanted to be I wanted to celebrate Vandy beating Alabama all night and start making a bunch of
let me
posts
ask you about that.
but
What's your take on that, man? What a monumental upset.
this is an example of Alabama without Saban, number one. And another example is that DB that was on the field throwing a fit while Vanderbilt was down in the ball. That's another example of Alabama without Saban.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, all these little Alabamas without Sabans are going to add up.
Yes.
And they're going to see why Saban was so special. Everybody's like, oh, we're going to be, DeBoer's going to take over and this and that. And I don't think he's
I didn't think we'd
coach.
see this till next year, Coach.
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad coach, but he is not Saban, period. I mean, any way you slice it. But, who is on that note. But at the same time, I could see him losing another couple games, honestly, but we'll see.
What
how
about
it goes.
Vanderbilt? Did you see Vanderbilt elevating their game to that? They lost to Georgia State this year.
Yeah, I don't understand that. That's just like, how do you lose to Georgia State? I mean, and then they took Missouri to overtime. I mean,
they beat Virginia Tech.
When they play good, they're good. I mean, that quarterback he's the real deal. I like that quarterback. This is what we're seeing out of Vandy is a sheer example of what the transfer portal, NIL, and all that stuff is doing to college football. I wasn't crazy about it at first, but now I'm kind of seeing a little more parity. So that to me makes it a better game. And then when you expand into playoffs, that compounds it even more. So I'm like, we're going to see more Vandy's beating Alabama's, with the current structure of college football. And I mean, to me, that's a good thing. Because you want everybody to be
ratings are way up in the college game.
Yeah, you want everybody on as equal a playing field as possible. And if there's one thing I don't like the free-for-all transfer, because I don't want it to turn into a bidding war every year with absolutely no restrictions. I don't like that.
I want the bumper guards.
Yeah, if you commit, you should be committed for a certain amount of time, unless it's just absolutely, extenuating circumstances. You should at least have 2 to 3 year commitment. I don't, put a number on it. Maybe 2 years. Like you go
Yeah.
somewhere, you're there 2 years. You don't go there in the spring and then be like, sometime in the summer, this team offered you this much, and then
Yeah.
I
Like
don't
that stuff
want
in,
that.
in UNLV. Do you hear
Yeah,
about that story?
That's ridiculous. And I guess it depends on what story is true. If
Right.
they offered the kid the money, and
Pay
he got his
you know?
money, and then he decided he was better than what he got, then tough, man.
That's true.
You agree to it. That's what you're getting. And if I'm on the college's side, if they did that, now if they just didn't give him what they told him they would, then yeah,
I got a feeling he mentioned the offensive coordinator. I got a feeling maybe that maybe they did lie to him because his dad agreed. I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way,
give Clark Lee credit though. I mean,
Pickles is saying
he's
several
doing a good
players.
job.
Yeah, New Mexico. He's getting down there and recruiting. That quarterback had a lot of family in town.
Yeah.
Tivy or whatever his name is.
Yeah, he had some guts, man. He was standing in there throwing the ball, running it, and doing all kinds of stuff. I mean,
they couldn't stop him on third down when he was running for that first down. Alabama looked lost out there.
Yeah, and that's why when Tennessee plays Alabama, we need Nico running. Period.
Now I'm confident Tennessee can beat Alabama now.
Yeah. I mean, like that's what I'm. Everybody saying the world's ended because we lost to Arkansas. I'm like, we win these next 2 weeks, dude. We're like around.
You only dropped to 8.
Yeah. We're right back in the top 5 probably because we got Ohio State and Oregon playing each other this week. I mean,
Yeah. What's your thoughts on these games, man? What's your thoughts on Ohio State, Oregon? I'm back and forth on it. To be honest with you.
Number one, Ohio State. I guess they thought they were smart in as far as the quarterback goes, getting Howard from Kansas State.
Yes.
McCord is better. If you want a guy to
you like McCord better. Wow.
He was better. Look at what he's doing at Syracuse. He's down there. He's putting up numbers at Syracuse without all the talent around him. McCord with talent around him is good. Now, am I saying he's going to be like a top 5 NFL pick? He doesn't have the measurables, probably not. But if you want a guy in college, he's similar to Stetson Bennett. Like he'll win you ball games.
Yeah,
you put talent around him, he'll win you ball games. I've seen Howard play. The reason they're undefeated is because they haven't played anybody, first of all.
Right.
And Howard, as far as his passing goes, it's really minimal. He's not that great.
Telegraph.
He's a good runner, and he's got the good athletes, which is why he's got the passing stats that he does.
Yes.
Honestly, I expected that freshman quarterback that transferred from Alabama to eventually beat him out. And
wow.
They haven't played anybody to test him yet. So I guess, he's holding on to his spot because, it kind of the same way with Jalen Hurts and Tua. Tua didn't get in there until Jalen Hurts couldn't cut it.
Right.
Maybe that might be what it takes with Ohio State.
What about their running game? Joe Klatt's real high. This guy with Fox, he's real high on the running game.
Yeah, they're good. They're good everywhere. They are good everywhere on that field. Ohio State is one of the most talented teams in the entire in all of college football. I don't know what the rankings are, but I bet you their roster is ranked in the top 2 or 3. So I mean, they're good. They're really good. So
that may be too. Let me double check.
I just don't. I don't have a lot of faith in Howard, and I'm still not real sold on Oregon. I don't think they're bad, but I don't think they're great at the same time.
They're not as good as they're. Yeah, none of them are 2. It's Texas, Ohio State, Oregon. So you got 2 and 3. Yeah. My preseason pick was Ohio State was going to be really good, but I don't know if they can win up there in Eugene, even with that running game. No.
It'll be tough. Because Oregon
and Gabriel's played in big games before.
Yeah, Gabriel's gotten better.
Yeah.
As the season's gone on, I still don't think he's all world, but he's still okay. He's okay. And I think Ohio State has better athletes.
Yes.
But I don't like their quarterback. I think he'll get a little bit exposed this week. And
you're leaning Oregon, ain't you?
No. I'm leaning a one score. I'm leaning a 1-score game. I don't know who to pick because if the game comes down, if it comes down to a last possession and and Ohio State needs Howard to lead them down the field, I'm not confident that he can do that. I'm more confident in Gabriel leading them down the field. Oregon.
I'm leaning Oregon, although I've been back and forth.
Ohio State.
Yeah.
And because of that alone, and the fact that they're in Eugene, I'd probably just slightly ever so lean Oregon, just because I like their quarterback a little better. Hey, had Gabriel transferred to Ohio State, that would have been a match made of heaven, in my opinion.
Woo!
But I mean, you know.
And Gabriel was with Oklahoma last year that beat Texas, and we know how good Texas was last year. What do you think about that Texas-Oklahoma? That's a big game. Is Texas looking ahead, Coach?
That is a big game. I don't think they're looking ahead because they lost to Oklahoma last year.
But they got Georgia next week.
Plus, it's the Red River rivalry. This game, this is one of those where you can just throw the records out the window. They're going. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma upsets Texas this week. Wow. I don't believe it's going to happen.
Me neither.
I'm leaning Texas just because they're the more talented team. But I leaned Texas last year too because I thought they're the more talented team. But yeah, it's just Oklahoma and Texas. It's just one of those deals. You just never know who's going to win that game. I think Texas is going to win, but like I said, if Oklahoma did show up and beat them, I wouldn't be surprised.
Do you see Quinn Ewers getting benched? He's supposed to be back this week. Do you see him getting benched if he throws a couple of picks early against that Oklahoma defense? I'll tell you what, Venables has fixed that defense. I just don't think he's head coaching material.
Defense has played better for Oklahoma. I don't think Ewers is going to get benched. I mean, Manning was throwing interceptions against who was it? New Mexico State.
Was he really?
Okay,
I didn't catch that.
I mean, he's still. Don't get me wrong, he's playing good, and I honestly think they're 1A and 1B. I don't think there's really much of a drop off, regardless which one you have in there. But you got to go with Ewers just because of his experience.
Yeah, okay.
So I mean, but yeah, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah,
I think Ewers will be fine. He could throw some picks in this game though. Oklahoma, if they play them like they did Tennessee, they're going to drop a lot of guys back. So I mean, you know, they're going to make Texas run the ball and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, I was really surprised. I honestly, if they lost that game, I know that they gave Venables a contract extension. I'm sure the fans would want to get rid of Venables because he's not been that impressive other than that big win. And, of course, the fixing the defense overall, don't you think?
Yeah, well, you kind of got to look at it like this. The fact that the defense has been a problem for over a decade.
Yes.
And he got it fixed. That's huge. Just bring in an offensive coordinator that's the guru and let him install that offense. I mean, freaking bring Chip Kelly in there. Hell, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Chip is with Ohio State. Yeah,
he's with Ohio State.
He's going back to Oregon. That'll be interesting. That's another storyline.
See, if Chip Kelly had I think maybe that's why they got Howard, because Chip Kelly's offense typically you need a running quarterback, and McCord was not a running quarterback. But yeah, I just think McCord would do better with the athletes that they got at Ohio State than Howard is.
That's an interesting take, man. That's something I'll think about come Saturday. Ole Miss at LSU. This is huge. 2-1 lost teams here, man. I think the winner, the closer to the playoff, the loser, they're on the outside looking in already.
Yeah, this will be a pretty good ball game. Where's this one at now?
It's at LSU, man, at 6:30 too.
At night? Oh yeah. I'm actually I'm leaning LSU just a little bit actually.
Because it's at night.
Yeah, that should be a fun one as well. I kind of wish Tennessee was playing at 2:30 if I'm being honest, because I want to see those games at night. Yeah, I don't know why we're playing.
By that,
I don't know why we're playing Florida at freaking 6 o'clock. That tells me that people are tuning in when Tennessee's playing. That's what that tells me. So if we win this game and we win it convincingly, then next week, I don't know. You got Texas and Georgia too. I don't know.
Tennessee, Alabama.
Will game day go to Knoxville or will they go to?
They'll be in Austin.
Not
unless Oklahoma beats them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't really care where they go. I don't care if they're in Knoxville or that. They don't have to be in Knoxville. I just want to win the game. If we win the game, I don't care where they are. It will be. I do believe it'll be a night game though. We'll play them at night, I'm sure. But
Pickles is right. Ole Miss is good. They rebounded big from that Kentucky loss.
Yeah.
South Carolina's not an easy out.
Yeah, they're not, but I don't know. The way Kentucky freaking just run on them, I believe that's what LSU's going to do too. They're going to run the ball on them. Hey, Jackson Dart's legit. He's a good player and everything.
I've been thinking about having him replace Will Levis.
Ground the tempo of that game way down and let them get on the field like once a quarter or something like that, kind of like Kentucky did. Because if Kentucky can run, just line up and run at you and freaking have to complete like a 9 or 10 yard pass every other series. I mean, I believe LSU could do it as well because what's the LSU quarterback's name again?
Something Offenheimer.
Yeah.
Something like that.
He's better than the Kentucky quarterback. And
really?
I believe they got better skilled players. They definitely got better skilled players outside of Brown for Kentucky.
You ain't suspect of that LSU defense. That LSU defense is just not what it used to be, man.
Yeah, that's the only thing. And I'm not hoping. I don't care who wins this game. I'm gonna be honest, but
it's a good game though.
Yeah, it is. With being in LSU at night with the crowd and everything, I think that might help out that defense a little bit. So I mean,
let them play on a drilling. They did beat Alabama one year.
It could end up being like one of those shootout type games. They could score 43-42. Yeah, I could see that happening. I could see a shootout.
You think Penn State? They're not in any jeopardy of losing to USC? Do you think?
That depends on what USC shows up. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
I
can't believe they lost to Minnesota, man.
The way
makes LSU's win look bad, don't it?
The way you beat USC is just play bully ball, like friggin',
Michigan.
Test them, run at them. Yeah. Bully them around, push them around, and they don't respond very well to that. So.
Yeah,
you can line up, and Penn State's got the personnel to do it. They got the big offensive line, the big backs, and of course the quarterback can run. I mean, yeah, are they going to USC or is
it's going to USC? Yeah,
okay.
I think Penn State's going to take them out of their misery. That third loss, you don't have to worry about USC. No, I ain't going to talk about USC.
Yeah, yeah. We spent years talking about every time the magazine come out, USC was picked to win everything, and they never would. I mean,
Colin Cowherd, he was like their spokesperson, wasn't he?
I'm telling you, he's like a death sentence, man.
Hey, what do you think about Jalen Daniels playing in NFL so far? I think he's out playing Caleb Williams right now.
Jalen Daniels is the best quarterback in the draft at this right now, as we're talking.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw it was like a meme that come out the other day with Jalen Daniels. I shared it actually. It was talking about. It said he shows up at training facility every day at 4 a.m. He gets his lifts in and he gets the film study in before any of the players even show up.
Wow.
To the facility. So, and I shared it and I said, this is why he is having success.
Gets up earlier, works harder.
He works his butt off, man. And I'm happy to see him having success. I'm really.
You think they're going to knock out Baltimore? That's the biggest game of the week in NFL, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a tough game. Where is that played at?
It's in Baltimore.
In Baltimore. I think they got a shot.
It's going to be a good one, ain't it?
Their defense has looked really good, and Daniels has looked really good. I mean, watching him, I've watched 2 or 3 of their games because.
Did you think he'd get hurt at this point? Because remember, he got hurt in that Alabama game last year.
Yeah, he's playing smart though. He is playing smart.
He is playing smart.
He's not putting himself in those positions to get himself injured, and he's running just to get his first downs and stuff like that.
Pickle thanks Michael Vick. He's got better touch than Vic at this point. Pickles,
yeah, he doesn't have as strong as an arm as Vic, I don't believe.
But he don't overthrow as much as Vic.
Yeah, I think he's more calculated in his passes and stuff. And
And
I think
Kingsbury's good for this role. I don't think Kingsbury's head coach.
exactly what I was about to say. Kingsbury is using him perfectly. The scheme and everything they're doing with him is just perfect for him, and it's working. And he's only going to continue to get better, the more he plays. And I'm really rooting for him. I hope he continues.
Did you see this? I didn't see this coming, dude. When they got drafted,
I wasn't big. Number one, I wasn't big on Williams at all.
Right.
I just a lot of little things like the intangibles and stuff. I'm just like, he just doesn't.
That more about Lincoln Riley doing his magic.
I'm just not feeling Williams, and and he hasn't shown me a whole lot so far. I think he had a decent game this past weekend, but
he did.
Yeah, I don't know if the players are basically sold on him, his own teammates. I'm not sure. And as far as I didn't like Drake May because of I just think he's going to have a lot of turnovers. He had a lot of turnovers in college, and
he went to a bad.
That's the hardest thing, like coming in the NFL and not having a bunch of turnovers.
He's playing this week. He's starting this week.
Yeah, I'm interested.
It's going to be a disaster.
See how he does. As far as Jane Daniels, I actually thought he had a chance to be the best rookie. I didn't call it or anything, but I was really interested in seeing him play. And Pickles is actually right on the money. He makes really good decisions.
77% completion. That's unbelievable, man.
Yeah, he makes good decisions. He don't make stupid throws and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've seen him throw some dimes, like some down the field, like hit him on the money, ball placement. Really
you don't
good
think
ball
he's
placement.
a Stroud level, do you?
Nah, not right now.
No, I don't either.
I think
some are trying to say that, but not yet.
Stroud is exceptional at just dropping back in the pocket and reading the defense and picking teams apart. Like that's why I wanted the Titans to get Stroud so bad, because I was sold after, and they lost the game against Georgia. But what he did against Georgia, I'm like, that is the best defense in college football, and he is like just picking them apart.
That goes back to Nico.
Yeah,
let Nico use his legs, right, Coach?
Exactly, and I mean, Stroud's the guy, man. And Daniels, I don't know if he'll get to that spot where he reads the defense like Stroud does. Maybe he will. I mean, I don't know.
Running the offense they do this week.
Yeah, running the offense that they run, that's not really asked of him. So I don't know. Maybe he gets to that point. Maybe he don't. But they're progressing him along pretty good. I think the way he needs to be progressed along at this point. So
yeah.
I
was just
like
asking because he just won the Heisman last year, and
I
know you keep up with the college game. Like
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of him. I like watching him play. So
he shocked me. I'm pleasantly surprised. The better quarterback play, the better the product, right, Coach?
Yeah. Quarterback, you get your quarterback number one, and hey, that's the start of it right there. So
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man. If Tennessee knocks out these next two, I got to bring it back. Then again,
Absolutely.
If they don't knock them out and they lose both of them, we'll have to dissect this thing anyways.
I'll have to choke down some crow. So I'm ready though. Hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It is what it is. I mean,
they got the defense to do it. Like you said, take the handcuffs off. Let Nico be Nico.
That's it. Just let it fly, man. I think
you did that last drive, brother.
And hey, I can live with it. If they lose doing that, I can live with that. If
you don't like losing playing scared,
if they lose doing the same thing, then I'm like, you didn't address anything. You just come out and just did the same thing. Yeah, I mean, hey, the pace is their identity. Come out, let's see it. Like I said, if it don't work, hey, it don't work. But at least you tried. I mean,
yeah.
We'll see.
All right, Kevin Carroll, everybody. Appreciate you, brother. I can't wait, man.
Anytime, man.
All right, man.
It's fun. Y'all have a good one.
You too, buddy. See you later. All right, folks. I'll be back tomorrow with the Mad New Yorker. We'll pick these games. Pickles says 31-27. That's probably right, Pickles. That may be the score. I'm going to save that and bookmark that, Pickles. Just bookmark that. And I will replay that come Monday if that is the score Saturday. That feels about right, 31-27. Tennessee gets off to an early lead. They sit on it, and it looks like it did 2 years ago, and Florida comes up just short. That's exactly what I probably the way this thing is. I'm going to play that 14.5 by Florida, though. That's a lot of points, just like I did 2 years ago and won. So if you guys like the show, share the show. Again, we'll have the Mad New Yorker back here, and we'll be talking a lot of NFL, and we'll pick these college games as well. Have a good night, everybody.